It's Canada Day, and like many people, I've been invited to a barbecue, but this one's a little unusual. Despite how it looks, this isn't some strange, barbaric medieval ritual. I'm at the Saturna Island Lamb Barbecue, a Canada Day tradition for over 60 years that today attracts visitors from across North America. During this event, the island's population swells from 350 to around 1,500. Nearby Winter Cove is crammed with boats of all sizes, and everyone expects to be fed. The lamb roast began as a school picnic on Campbell's farm, and they've been supplying lamb for the roast ever since. Jim Campbell has carved at every one of them, and he's planning to carve at this one, his 63rd. This is very much a family farm. Jackie Campbell showed me around, with some help from the dogs. The dogs are working dogs and help round up the sheep. Recent changes to the rules that control where animals can be slaughtered put many local small facilities out of business. But here on Saturna, the Campbells were able to upgrade their own small abattoir.
I always said, like, if the inspector wanted to come, I had no problems. Yeah. Because in fact, we did everything that we were supposed to do all along. We always believed our meat was clean. We always slaughtered healthy animals and ones that were in good condition. And so the emotional transition wasn't that great. Right. But the financial transition kind of thing, isn't it? Was somewhat bigger. To do the upgrades on the slaughterhouse and that sort of thing.
And this is the only one on this island? Or is it
it's the only one on this island. There is one on Gabriola as well. So they're the only ones on the islands. Okay, so here we are at the abattoir. This is our freshly upgraded abattoir 5 years ago. We had to, basically this is a space we had before inspection came in. But we didn't have a ceiling, and they made us put this plastic FRP board. Easily cleanable kind of material. But because it was already in existence, they said that we just had to really do this in the wear areas. And then the big advantage we had over some other slaughterhouses is our kill floor is separated by elevation. Yeah, this was designed my parents way back in the 50s when they wanted to build a new slaughterhouse. They went to somebody who gave them plans for a small slaughterhouse.
The Campbells process only small numbers and try to minimize the stress to the animals.
It's nice for our sheep. They don't get loaded in a truck and then taken somewhere and then unloaded somewhere else. And you know, I think it's easier on them. They just walk around behind the slaughterhouse here into a little paddock, and you know, we always bring down a couple more than we're going to slaughter, so that there's never a last lamb in the slaughterhouse. And when other people bring, we're always careful if we do have a last animal, that we do the last two at the same time, so that there isn't one being lonely.
And keeping the island's abattoir open benefits the whole community.
I think it's good, and I think people really like to buy their local meat. They like to buy things, they like to know where it came from. I mean, there's lots of people who have never even been to our farm, and they say, well, I want to buy my meat from you because I know you. I'm thinking, ooh.
I'm visiting Saturna Island to take part in its Canada Day lamb roast. The evening before the big day, the lambs are prepared by fixing them to the racks. With 27 lambs, this is quite a task, but there is a team who come together every year to make the event a success. It's all part of living in such a small community. The morning of the roast, the bonfire is lit at first light. Then, at around 7 a.m., the lamb arrives. It will cook slowly around the open fire for the next 7 hours. This slow roasting on a metal cross is based on an Argentinian gaucho tradition. I've been looking forward to coming here for a long time. Later, I'm going to help carve the lamb. But, as this is my first visit to the island, I've been having a look around. Saturna is the southernmost of the Gulf Islands. Most people get here via BC ferries, either from Vancouver Island or the mainland. Accommodation for visitors tends to be small and friendly and can be very comfortable. Saturna is one of the least populated of the Gulf Islands, partly because of its rugged terrain. The top of its highest peak, Mount Warburton Pike, has fantastic views and can be reached by road. Another landmark is East Point, home to the historic fog alarm building, and a favorite place to hang out on a sunny day. This is one of the best places for whale watching from the land, but I didn't see any. Because of the steep local terrain, farms here tend to be small, and the farmers have to be fit. I'm toiling uphill with Flora House of Breezy Bay Organic Herb Farm to visit one of her greenhouses and to find out more about the challenges running a certified organic farm.
You have to look at what's happened on your property, your farm.
So
what kind long term?
Right.
What's happened with it? Who's done what with it?
Okay.
Have they ever used chemicals on the property? Has there ever been an industrial area on the property? All these kind of things.
Right.
What's happening surrounding your property?
Okay.
What's going
On an ongoing basis.
On the ongoing basis around the outside of your property.
Right.
Do you need big buffer zones
Right.
to protect from that? Building up your soil. Soil health is, I think, one of the basic things. What is your soil like? How can you make it more productive?
Right.
What do you need to add to it? And then what are you adding? Because if you bring anything in from off property, you have to show that it has also from the same kind of organic source.
Right.
Being certified organic, properly certified organic, gives you a little bit of an edge.
Right.
You fit into a niche market better then. Okay. And it takes a bit to maintain that. There's a whole lot of rules and regulations you have to observe and practice and keep up on.
When people grow organically in their own homes,
Yeah.
is that really organic?
Yes, you probably wouldn't get certified because you can't prove what your neighbors are doing.
Right,
And
right.
what's coming in just from whatever's around. But for your own home use, you can say, I'm growing this as organically as possible
Right.
in my situation.
Are there any tips for people out there that they can help their plants or aid them or protect them or do
Well,
anything
there's
with
all
them?
kinds of, using things like those little cloche houses, row covers.
Yeah.
Row covers are great for protecting from cold, nasty weather.
Right.
If you're in a greenhouse environment, like some people would think, oh, don't open up the greenhouse because
Right.
it's a cold day. No, I have to open the greenhouses and I have to keep the
You need that
fans
fresh air
running.
in that.
You got to have air movement, otherwise you're going to have all kinds of molds and mildews and strange things building up in the greenhouse because
Right.
there is a lot of moisture just given off by the plants.
Right.
Yeah, there's so many good websites, so much information out there. I think just researching.
Yeah.
Saturna is also home to the Saturna Island Family Estate Winery, a surprisingly large vineyard which must surely have one of the best settings I've ever seen. My guide to the winery is winemaker Humman Haft-Baradaran. I asked which wine he would suggest to accompany barbecued lamb.
That's a Pinot Noir, 2009. A light Pinot, like cherry.
Yeah, you can really see that the cherry red in there. It's
Absolutely.
beautiful. It's a
Absolutely.
beautiful color.
Absolutely. And as it ages, it gets better and better. Slightly tanninic, just slightly tanninic.
That's right. It's just, and you know what? I can taste that with the richness of the lamb.
Yes.
The winery is the largest on the Gulf Islands, with around 60 acres under cultivation. Oak casks are used to age the wines, and the winery produces some very interesting sparkling wines.
We have here two different sparklings, one made from Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and another one is actually a rosé sparkling, purely made out of Pinot Noir.
And I understand this is a new wine to your stable.
That's right.
How much of the sparkling wine do you actually produce?
600 bottles actually, just
Okay,
small.
so it's a very light, very
Yeah.
small run.
Yeah. Wow.
I must say, Humman, that's absolutely
awesome.
delicious. Again, very nice balance. It's not, you know, you look at it and you think it's going to be sweet and
No,
and
it's
syrupy,
absolutely
but
dry.
very dry, very balanced, nice fruitiness to it.
Strawberries, lots of strawberry aromas.
Absolutely, absolutely, very fruity. I love it. Well, you know, now you've set us up perfectly well. I can't wait to get over to the barbecue and start mixing it with some lamb and some of the other goodies that we get to taste over there.
For sure. Take 2 bottles with you and enjoy it before this, we go for the Pinot Noir.
Thank you so much once again.
Cheers.
Okay.
Thanks.
Back at the barbecue, the opening ceremony has been performed, the lambs are ready, and I'm getting my instructions along with all the other volunteer carvers. I've been teamed up with an expert. Jessie Guy has been carving here since she was a child and knows exactly what to expect. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, and here they come. 1,400 hungry people. They just keep on coming. And so does the lamb, and it's hot. It's a good job I have chef's fingers.
That's not the chef's portion. It's quality control, that's all I'm saying. So after all that, lots of lamb, lots of sun, lots of fires, here we are, Canada Day on Saturna Island. Absolutely awesome. Well, happy Canada Day, everyone. Wasn't that the most awesome thing you have ever seen? 27 lambs cooked around a bonfire. Fabulous. And today, I am really, really thrilled and pleased to have my very, very good friend, Kathy Mackery, in the studio kitchen. Kathy, writer, radio presenter, promoter, culinary explorer. What is it? What don't
Event
you do?
stuff. Anything where I get to eat and drink. You know me,
That's
very,
why we get along
very narrow-minded
so well.
I am, yes.
We get paid to eat and drink.
Isn't that a good gig?
Today we're going to play around with lamb.
Are you going to
because
feed me?
I'm going to feed you. And I know, of course, you're gluten-free, so we're going to take that into account, and we're going to do lamb sliders, but instead of regular buns, we've got potato buns.
Great.
So again, we've got no gluten in there. We're going to take lamb dinner. So lamb, peas, carrots, potatoes, and mint. But we're not doing a roast dinner. We're going to do the sliders. So we're going to do pulled lamb, carrot jam with mint,
Carrot jam.
pea shoots, and the potato bread for the bun.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, so what we've got is a piece of lamb shoulder here. First thing we need to do, we need to season it up. So I'm going to let you do the seasoning right off the bat because then I can get everything going in the pot here.
Can
I've
I
got
be generous?
Absolutely. I've got a little saucepan over here, big enough for my lamb. A little bit of oil just to lubricate the bottom of the pot, just to get things going. Don't be afraid to work that seasoning in. You want to get it all the nooks and crannies, okay? And there we go. That's going straight in. While that's doing its thing and browning, let's talk about you.
Oh, do we have to?
We
Come on.
do.
I like to be the one to ask the questions.
Aha, you see, this is where the tables are turned. So, travel with taste. What is travel with taste, and what do you do with travel with taste?
Culinary tours. It's all about culinary tourism and learning people's stories, everything that happens behind the scenes, and of course the fabulous eating and drinking part.
Right. And just on the island, or do you go elsewhere?
Well, primarily on Vancouver Island. I really like to help people explore my own backyard.
Yeah. So we're just going to get that nicely browned off here. Now over here we've got our traditional mirepoix ingredients. So that trinity of celery, carrots, onions, and a little bit of garlic. We're just going to add those and brown a little bit of the vegetables before we add our little bit of liquid. And again, that's what we're looking for. So that nice browning on the meat. What else have we got? Your radio show. You have a really popular radio show here in town?
Only popular because you come on, right?
Well,
on,
I have to say, myself, and anybody who's anybody in the culinary world, isn't it?
Well, it's great because I've learned so much doing my culinary tours on Vancouver Island. I've learned so much about all these great people who are always behind the scenes.
Yep.
It gives me an opportunity to bring them out and get them to tell their stories. It's a whole hour from 1 to 2 every Saturday on CFAX 1070.
Yeah. So I've got the mirepoix all gone in there. We've got a little bit of browning going on. So we're, again, just starting to see a little bit of color on the onions and the celery and the carrots. And once again,
And was it garlic you put in there too?
A little bit of garlic in there. Again, we're going to season it up as we go so that we bring out all those flavors.
It smells divine.
And then a little bit of tomato paste. Now the tomato paste, of course, very high in sugar. So this is actually going to give us, again, a lot of that browning as that sugar caramelizes a little bit, and it gives us that nice rich color. And then we've just got a little bit of brown stock here. Okay, if we've got lamb stock or beef stock, we're just going to add that about 2/3 of the way up the lamb,
And we give that a little bit of a turn just to make sure everything's nice and moist. And then we're going to put a nice tight foil lid on there. Bring that up to the simmer, and we're going to put that in the oven for about 2 to 3 hours until the meat just starts to fall off the bone. There we go, and that's in a low oven. So about a 300-degree oven. You don't want it to be boiling. If you boil that meat, you're going to toughen up all the muscle fibers, and you'll have dry, stringy meat. Even though it's cooked in liquid, the meat can still be dry and stringy. Now, let's go back to you. Tell the viewers what was your job.
Do I have to?
To say what you do now, where you came from.
Well, now, of course, I'm all about what's local and fresh and seasonal,
Yeah.
and the very essence of what good food is. But for many years, I worked for Kellogg's.
For major corporate multinational giant.
Yes, I'm always have been a real food lover, loved the marketing of food,
Yeah.
and I'm really thankful for that experience. I learned a ton doing it, but I've done an about face when it comes to food and what good food is, and certainly supporting what's produced here on Vancouver Island. And if you think about buying a carrot that is locally grown rather than something that's imported from wherever it comes from, you think of the food miles that it travels, let alone all the hands that it passes through and the funds that go to it. If you're buying directly from a farmer that's right in your backyard, how simple is that?
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you to work. I need you to grate this carrot for me.
Oh, just
Okay.
because you want me to ruin my knuckles on TV?
No, you said, look at this wonderful little thing we've got here. And if you keep it fairly at a sharp angle, then we get nice long strips.
Okay, I promise.
As opposed to two.
You want long strips?
If
Okay.
possible. Because what we're going to do, this is going to be our carrot jam. And
What
I've got
is
this-
carrot jam?
Carrot jam is basically carrots cooked with a little bit of rice wine vinegar, about a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar there, a little bit of sugar. We just cook it down. And it gives us this nice sort of jammy texture, and we get all the benefit of the carrot. So what we can do is we'll just take this guy here, and I love this little tool. This is one of my favorite little pieces of kitchen equipment. Away you go. So the carrot just goes into a small saucepan. Okay, a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar, a little salt for seasoning. That's it. We'll give that a little heat. We'll give it a little pepper. And we'll give it a little stir. And we just let that come to the simmer. And it really doesn't take very long. You're basically, because again, the carrots are cut so finely. And then while they're doing their thing, we've got our pieces of mint. Because again, where would lamb be without mint? You got to have that
I
mint.
love mint.
So we need this little chiffonade. So if you just kind of roll everything up in one of the fat mint leaves there into like a little cigar shape.
Perfect.
And then you've got a knife just in front of you and just a little bit of a fine chiffonade. So that's our technical term for that nice finely chopped leaf. Now we've got our lamb, which has been in the oven for a couple of hours.
Perfect.
And this is just going to be so delicate and so tender. Meanwhile, I've got the carrot jam here. I'm just going to give this a quick stir because it's just drying a little bit. So you can see how the carrots have retained their shape. So it's a little bit on the sweet side. I'm going to turn that off now. That's done. Okay, we've evaporated that little bit of vinegar. We can take all of our mint. That can go in there. Again, just the last minute, off the heat so it doesn't discolor. So there's our carrots. There's our mint. Going to go beautifully with our lamb. And again, you can just see how that's.
I love how it's falling apart.
What I'll ask you to do, if you can just, you don't have to be fancy with it.
Excellent.
Just pull that to
Okay,
to pieces.
No technique, I love
No
it.
technique whatsoever to it. Just rip it to pieces.
Oh, is it ever tender?
So here we go. So we've just warmed up our potato buns.
Okay, did I do all right?
You did fabulous. So here we go. We've got lamb. We've got carrots. Here's our mint as well. And then, of course, instead of peas, we've got some pea shoots. And there we have it.
Rolls?
Pulled lamb shoulder. Or, as we say in the trade, lamb dinner on a bun.
Okay, here we go.
Are we ready?
Good job, Steve.
Always a pleasure working with you, and I hope we're going to have lots more. And those are some of the flavors of Saturna Island. Here we have it, hot off the presses. For all the great local recipes from Season 1 and 2 of Flavours, see our brand new cookbook available now in a bookstore near you. Or go to our website, flavoursofthewestcoast.net, for a full listing.
With the pulled lamb shoulder sliders, I think a great beer to pair with it would be the Robert Service Ale from Phillips Brewing Company. It's a delicious beer. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it that comes from them dropping the hot stones into the wort and the sugars caramelized right on the stones. I think it would go great with that natural sweet earthiness of the lamb. It's one of my favorite beers.
Rod, we're here again. We've got a lamb dinner in a bun. We've got lamb, we've got peas or pea shoots, we've got carrots, we've got mint, and we've got potato bread. Everything that a good roast dinner should have.
And you've got me salivating because lamb is one of my favorite meats.
Isn't it wonderful?
There's so much flavor to it. It goes on and on and on. And so the challenge there was to actually find wines that did the same thing.
Right.
So
and I noticed 3 reds.
3 reds.
3 big reds.
One of my favorite wines is the Tinhorn Creek Cabernet Franc. And the simple fact is that here in BC, we produce a lot of Cabernet Franc. In fact, I believe that Cabernet Franc is BC's red wine.
Right.
Let's give it a shot. This is the 2009. And right after the aromatics.
Wow, it is. It's got a big nose, isn't it?
Lots of plum and ripe red berries, a little bit of pepper to it.
It lingers.
It does.
It's there. It's just.
And you can picture, or you feel the a little bit of bite to it. That is the tannin. And the tannin you want to have with something like lamb, something richer like that, or
quite high. The saturated fats again. Same sort of thing. Mouthfeel, coating, and that will cut through that really nicely.
When you take that first sip, you're going to feel that. But if you have it with the slider, you're going to notice all of a sudden all you get is left is the fruit and the nuances of the wine.
Outstanding.
So
Outstanding.
We're going to take a trip over to one of my favorite places for wine values in the world right now, and it's Sicily. This is a Nero d'Avola, which is their native grape, which is the most prominent grape out of Sicily. And what you'll find is if you like Malbec or you like Australian Shiraz, if you just take one slight step to the left, you're going to find all that rich juiciness that you get out of those, but with a little bit of old world nuances to it, a little bit of extra earthy tones and mushroom and leather and all that kind of stuff. I once described this wine as blackberry pie in a glass. Really big blackberries. Now the last wine we're going to have here, this is a blended wine out of California. Plush is the name of it. It says so on the back that it's smooth, it's velvety, and it's sexy. And we all, who cares about the first two?
I was going to say.
I just like to be standing beside something that's sexy.
Well, thank you very much. Very nice, very nice of you to say.
But this is a blend of Zinfandel. There's some Grenache in there. There's some Merlot. Really, really ripe and juicy is where they're going to go with this.
It's quite fresh smelling as well, isn't it? It's
really
a little different from the first two.
There's a little elements of floral elements in there. And again, picking up the pea shoots and the carrots, but you also need that rich, round fruit to go with the lamb.
Right. Wow, that really is very different. Very nice, very fruity, very floral.
And you know what? It's not super complex. You're not going to sit there and try and find Zinfandels and all the different grapes in there.
Yeah.
It's just really hedonistically enjoyable.
Outstanding. As always, Rod, excellent job. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Flavours of the West Coast is made possible by the generous contributions of the Victoria Pub Company, Country Grocer, and Fortis BC.